Recently, Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic announced the National Academy for AI Instruction, a $22.5 million center designed to bring AI into schools from kindergarten to grade 12. Some will argue that it's only natural to do so since our world is becoming AI-powered. But that is a mistake of incredible stupidity. The fundamental mistake here, and in so many discussions about AI, is that AI is just a tool that you can use to become more efficient. But focusing on the specific capabilities of AI ignores the emergent effects from an incredibly complex system that is equipped with AI. Instead of understanding the long-term effects of AI, human beings in general resort to analogous reasoning. For example, some argue that AI-generated art is just another form of art, and its strangeness is only due to its novelty. All sorts of postmodern art that defy tradition has come about, so why not AI-generated art? It's just another tool, another form of expression after all. But this sort of analogous reasoning fails spectacularly because analogous reasoning cannot tease out the emergent phenomena of complex systems. Instead, to truly start to understand the unique difficulties posed by AI, we must look at the differences between AI and all previous forms of creation. With AI, for the first time, we have two conditions that come together that have not come together before. The first condition is that the basic foundation of creation is put in the hands of a computer. Previous creative works, even postmodern art, have mainly involved the creation by an individual or a group of individuals. Thus, with this first condition, we also declare that only production is important, and not the expression of the experiences of the people who create things in the first place. The second condition is perhaps even more dangerous. It is the increase in the speed of creation, which heretofore has never been seen. And, as with any increase in speed, we must expect novel qualitative differences that cannot be understood by analogy with past technical innovations. Such qualitative differences arise in nature all the time. For instance, warming a piece of ice from -20 degrees Celsius to -10 degrees Celsius merely makes it warmer, but does not change the fundamental nature of ice. However, a temperature change from -5 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius melts the ice and changes its form into liquid. Here, the crossing of the phase boundary of 0 degrees Celsius induces a change in form. But the boundary can also exist and not be so clearly defined by a single numerical value as well. For instance, a 1 by 1 pixel image is just a pixel, and going to 5 by 5 resolution still doesn't give us much ability to express anything. But going to a 2000 by 2000 pixel image allows us to depict images from life that look very real. Consciousness is another such phenomenon. A single-celled organism probably doesn't have much consciousness, but at some point the increase in the total number of cells gave rise to our own species in the past. When did consciousness arise? These emergent phenomena arise unexpectedly and must be understood carefully in any complex system. Thus, with AI, we must not focus on its similarities with past innovations, but ask ourselves, what sort of deleterious emergent phenomena can arise with the societal adoption of AI? The first, as we have hinted before, is its absolute speed. The speed of AI creation is itself overwhelming because it can, in a huge variety of domains, generate content. This has the immediate effect of reducing the visibility and value of all sorts of creations, and especially ones made by humans, which will be dwarfed by AI generations. In some cases, human-made content will be replaced entirely, and in other cases, it will be augmented. But even when human creations are just augmented, AI tends to have a uniformizing effect, reducing the significance of the uniqueness of the people behind creation. Of course, most advanced technology also has a similar effect. Writing on a computer removes the uniqueness of handwriting, and although calligraphy is still appreciated as a fringe art, it no longer has the widespread impact it once did. But nevertheless, we again must consider speed. The effect of uniformization is proportional to how advanced the technology is, and the greater the speed, the more overwhelmed we become. Now, this has a variety of effects, but the most obvious is that human beings will increasingly feel useless and not valued because any distinct abilities they have will be rendered increasingly irrelevant by AI. The person who has a knack for writing will no longer have their skill valued because anyone who can bang out a sentence will be able to turn it into something good enough with AI. And the person who can draw very well will not really be valued either, since anyone who can draw a basic sketch will have the capability to turn it into something that looks pretty good. Again, the degree to which the crude can be transformed into something amazing will only increase with time. I have already even read that many programmers are losing the joy of programming due to the way large language models have taken over the fine art of understanding documentation and how code is structured. The fact is, however, we need to feel valued for our uniqueness, and we need to celebrate it. The shifting of emphasis from uniqueness to production inevitably will lead to a listlessness and a feeling of uselessness amongst the vast majority. Yes, there will always be individuals who can transcend this uniformizing effect and still make something interesting, but they are in the minority. And these are often also the people who are creating AI, which in turn makes the development of AI even more dangerous. It rewards the very few who can control and wield it, and transforms the majority into units of consumption whose main function in society is consumption and performing tasks of relatively little importance. Of course, society is already becoming a little like that due to the nature of advanced technology. But AI is the apex of that technology, and it will push this general state to an extremely pathological nature. This uniformization effect has yet another problem. Not only will people feel less valued for their uniqueness, and in general feel more listless and hopeless, but it also means that people will need other people less. That's not unique to AI. Technology has been reducing the need for local communities for a long time. Mark Boyle, in his book The Way Home, recalls a story he was told about a small community who used to gather around the fire so they could drink hot tea and drinks after their work in the fields. But upon the introduction of the thermos flask, that local gathering disappeared. It wasn't that they couldn't gather around a fire, it's that the need for it disappeared. And the fact is, people need to feel a need for what they do. The necessity of an action gives our lives meaning. The engagement in purely intellectual tasks can be amusing for only so long. Once the necessity of a task is removed, most people will find it less significant. When it comes to AI, though, the reduction of the need for others is on a whole new level. Now, if you need to know something, you no longer have to ask someone who might be knowledgeable about a subject. You can just ask AI. If you want to know what a phrase in a foreign language meant, at one point you might have to ask your friend who knew that language. Now, you can just ask AI. Of course, you can still ask your friend, but let me ask you, will that interaction have the same significance? No, it does not, because human beings need to feel the uniqueness of their abilities. And the evidence is there. People don't ask their friends as much anymore. The economically minded will argue that this improves efficiency. I say, to hell with efficiency. But there is an equally pressing nature of AI that will only add to the stress on society, and that is its raw power. A recent study showed that a significant number of papers in the biomedical sciences were partially written by AI. In fact, AI is being used in an incredible variety of ways in the sciences, and this is not a good thing. For in the past, we have demonstrated only one fact: that we are incredibly irresponsible with the knowledge we discover, taking short-term gains at the expense of the biosphere and of each other. The acceleration of scientific discovery will only make that worse, and the overwhelming of our minds with new knowledge will simply leave no room for introspection and reflection on whether we should actually use that knowledge or not. The truth is, there is nothing good that can come out of AI. It moves too quickly and is too disruptive for us to handle. Those that focus on issues such as ethical AI are hopelessly misled and naive. We can't save AI by making it, quote, ethical, nor can we make it safe, and we should never use it. Companies such as OpenAI are the equivalent of mass murderers, and they need to be stopped. AI might be convenient, but it's also contemptible and pathetic. The rich will stop at nothing to keep introducing endless new technology like AI that we don't need so that they can accumulate wealth beyond their wildest dreams. And they're going to use as much energy as their money allows them to, no matter how unsustainable it is. You know, there was a time when we had the guts to fight such evil and rid it from this world. I guess the time has passed.